Well, sup everyone. It's another time for another streams. Woohoo! Whoops. Here we go. Um, well, this thing has been just quite bored. What dude?
Hello.
Yes, it's just boring day.
Yeah, same here. Although we are having a springtime blizzard here.
Seriously? A blizzard
Yep.
already? Another one? I mean, what had it been? Two already for less than I don't know, less than a month or so?
Welcome to New Hampshire.
Well, I mean, my mom told me yesterday it's supposed to be snow here today, or at least the last night from today, but I didn't buy it. At first believed it's gonna be like um, you know, a mixed snow and rain, but nope. Even last night when I went to bed around 3 in the morning or so, I actually thought it was snowing outside, but in the morning, later on when I woke up around early noon like that, not sure it had actually snowed a lot. Probably what? Um, I guess maybe 3 or 4 inches by the afternoon. Well, let's say that it had been. It was about at least about I think, but maybe about zero. So there was just starting melting. But right now it's cold again, so it's gonna be freezing. My mom said it's gonna expecting snow tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and then it's gonna be a little bit cloudy, and hopefully it just gets a bit warmer again. Especially like Thursday this week when I saw butterflies. I mean, like butterflies this early in the month. Normally, those type of fly butterflies only arrives or usually get out of their hibernation around I don't know, like late April and early May or mid May, depends on this temperature. But being honest, even a week before then, I even saw a larva running
Hmm.
around on the road, like a small, hairy larva. I had no problem with touching those uh, bugs or anything. I mean, seeing butterflies even in March, like during the day it was warm enough, and next few days where it's gonna be cold, and it's like, wow, poor insects, and especially in when some flowers will start being showing up, and oh boy, sunlight, nope, snow, cold, nope, I go down to the ground. I mean, think about other animals like I know snakes, bears. I mean, not every single bear species that are going inside hibernation. Like uh, polar bears, I don't know if they actually go in hibernation, but I know at least other bears like black bear, brown bear, Kodiak bear, grizzly bear. They are usually, but in Americans, bears they can actually leave a hibernation during the time in the winter. It's not that uncommon. I mean, some animals that has been, at least a lot of mammals had been going to hibernations in the winter for, well, like bears, um, some mouses, rats, that, and other animals like snakes, spiders, you name it. All of those animals go to hibernation because they can't tolerate the cold. Well, that depends on which part of the country they are living in. Like if you're like in Texas or in Florida or even near Mexico border, that you can expect me to find some animals not in hibernation, since they have been adapted for the temperature. Although, I mean, not every single mammals in the world are going into hibernation. In fact, the only species that I will know is humans. We can't be going hibernation because if we like every night when we are drinking just one glass of water, that we always have been go and wakes up in the early night, sometimes in the night or even early morning to use the restroom. That is the problem. We can't sleep too long, even if we don't drink anything for the next several hours before going to bed. But sure, if we were managed to be in some form of hibernation steadily sleep, our body's fat layers will be absorbed by the body itself to be burn it for fuel and for nourishment. That would happen like for the bears. But they always eating a lot during the last few months of the before they go into hibernation. That's the reason why we don't see any bears and during the winter. While some bears are awake, can happen to wake up in the middle of winter, but it depends from I don't know for exact reasons. It could have been maybe them being disturbed by someone in the area, but depends. But humans can't be in hibernation for any longer period of times unless like if you're in a coma. If you were in a coma, for example, in a hospital, well, then you have machines that will take care of the problems afterwards. Otherwise, adding some fluids to your body. But the same problem is as the same issue as for when it comes to space exploration for manned craft. Where if we were to send any crew members or manned missions from to Mars, or even perhaps even up onto to even Pluto, which is about since it took New Horizons like 9 years to travel. So if we would send people out there and had to spend like almost a decade awake, I don't think so. And put them in some sort of suspended animation or some form of man-made hibernation. So far, it hasn't really much solved that problem, but it's kinda. I mean, in the movie Interstellar from 2014, some of the crew actually managed to figure out one thing that they put themselves in a plastic bag that's filled with some liquid. I think it's like water or something. Um, and they can stay in like that for up to as as far as 2 years. Hey, Ishigo Senpai, that's been a while. I've been on like what, 10 years? Yeah, but you're just talking random stuff here. I mean, if you were in a spaceship and if there were no no faster than light travel was available at the time, and if even if we had managed to travel up to maybe as say 30 or perhaps even 40% of light speed, for because if we would send a normal probe, say to Alpha Centauri, it would take them at least up to I think maybe 20 or even if it says 50,000 years. But the late Stephen Hawkins, along with a Russian billionaire, um, while we're just talking some about random stuff here, Ichigo, um, they were planning to send a small probe to the Alpha Centauri system, which is only 4 light years away from us. It will take in that 20 years. And that probe wouldn't even be as big as a post stamp on a letter. That big. And it's but it won't be using solar sails. Like if you like imagine those big old fashioned wood ships that have a sail, they will be similar but they will use lasers in order to push that probe onto as fast as I believe it's about to 30, almost 40% of the light speed. So instead for 30 or 50,000 years, it will only take 2 decades for that probe to arrive to the closest star. And for that probe to be in observing any of those planets, because now you know there are at least 3 planets in that system. One is potential as going to be habitable for humans to live on. That depends if the planet has, or if it rotates on itself. If that planet is tidal locked, meaning it's facing the same size of its star the whole time, that side of the planet will be inhabitable. That will be um. There's only one word that can describe that condition, and that will be like hell. It will be like hellish temperature, like beyond any human or any life forms can survive on. And by the opposite side would be an also, well, that is only one word I can call cold, because that temperature would be freezing cold. Only the zone between the day and light side will be potentially habitable, which is within science called Terminator Zone. Yeah, it's actually named. I don't think it's actually named after like the Terminator movie. But if they would have been discovered, if that probe, which is called within a project called Starship Breakthrough, I believe it's called, if they send a dimensional tent travel 20 years to that plate, to that system, you may think, what about if it transmitted image and some data back to Earth? Would it take 20 years? No. That information will travel with light speed, and that takes 4 years. I mean, if you will travel, let's say, if you travel from our in the galaxy across the galaxy, which is say 100,000 years, light years away, travel at light speed, it will still take you 100,000 years for to reach that system or that end. There is no way to travel faster than light. While within sci-fi, it is possible. I mean, like say, with Star Trek, you have warp drives. Um, in Star Wars, you have still hyperdrives and all that, but it's but I mean, some scientists have believed warp drive is physically impossible to even happen. But I had to break the news on that. Some scientists actually believe that they've been able to create an actual warp bubble, because every single Star Trek ships have like a bubble around it, which somehow it's I don't know exactly how it works, but it's almost like they stretch the ship as far as it can. But I can't say more about that. But space travel for humans at the moment, it's still in its early development. Despite it has been over 50 years since we started in the space age. I mean, the actual space age started when the Russians launched their first satellite, or like 1957. Then it was only 1 year later when America managed to send their own Explorer 1, I believe it was called. And, and within the next several decades, several other countries in the world started to form their own space agencies, like Japan started with the JAXA, what is it called? Um, Russia's were Roscosmos, and even the European Space Agency, which is a European, which is just not only one country, but the entire Europe is part of, including my own country. And I mean, space exploration is very much important. Even though a lot of people think that we spend too much money on the space exploration for nothing, that all those billions, all those trillions of dollars, or depend on what country's currency you're using, is wasting on space exploration, but it can be used on Earth. But I have to say, space explorations is not waste of time or money because it actually is. Seeing it from this way is a potential lifeline because as Earth is in right now, the state of its condition, we are devastating our own planet. We have destroyed a lot of environments. The Amazon for rainforest, a lot of that place has been cut down to be replaced with sugar plantations, or rather, I don't know. And so it seems the trees are only lifelines for us to survive. So if we destroy our own planet, we will be going extinct. There is no other world in our universe that we can survive on. Well, unless if you go to Mars, but Mars cannot be. You can't just walk around on Mars surface without a spacesuit. No way. But travel around the universe is one way. We had to colonize many other worlds in order to survive. Because the late Stephen Hawking said humanity had to expand or had to migrate out in the universe within the next 1,000 years. And he has a point in that. As the Earth's population grows bigger and bigger for each single day, right now we're at almost 8 billion. Well, we are 8 billion, but we are also using a lot of our own planet's natural resources, like oil. When oil is gone, another resource that is very, very dependent on, which is fresh water. With the next, I don't know, they expect around 2050 that the fresh water will be they expect that the fresh water will be the most sought after resource after oil. I mean, there are some countries in the world that doesn't even have any form of freshwater lakes, rivers whatsoever, like Saudi Arabia. That country had to put all the resources into either import water from the outside, or they had to or convert seawater to fresh water. But that process takes a lot of money, which is quite expensive. Trust me, it's not worth it in the end.
Yeah,
So what are
once
you
we
doing?
well, I told everyone I was streaming, but it looks like my mom didn't listen to me, and she brought the food up, so that's just great.
Well, but if I ask this, what is your opinion about that the late Stephen Hawking said that humanity had to migrate from Earth within the next 1,000 years in order to survive? What do you think about it?
I don't know if we were if we weren't so reliant on all the non-renewable stuff like oil and water and stuff like that, maybe
Yeah.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
have to migrate. But since
Well,
pretty much everything involves at least oil, bottles are made
well,
out of it, soap's made out of it.
true. But here's another thing. Even if we had managed to find not to be dependent on oil, and that we have found many renewable, renewable power sources like wind, solar power, and that we have and have become world peace. But there's a problem. How would we be able to survive if something would, like, say, a very um, a global disaster would hit? Like, what if like this like to happen to the dinosaurs? They became extinct about 66 million years ago when an asteroid hit Earth. What if we, as soon as another asteroid was approaching Earth, what will we do? We have no defense against an asteroid. Like perhaps sending a nuke on it, but we don't know how the consequences are going to be. It is possible that the asteroid might be vaporized, but there's also possibility that still large pieces could be too large for even to burn up in the atmosphere, and it can still use make cause a huge damage on the ground or in the ocean. If they're hitting the ocean, they could be causing a mega tsunamis, which could be as high as maybe, I don't know, 500 feet or even 1,000 feet. What if there's a ground? Can he cause massive earthquakes that can devastate the whole world? So if humanity needs a way for survival, we need to colonize other worlds, at least within our own system for this as a start, like Mars, and at least as a way for just precaution, as just as a plan B. Because, like I said, the humanity had to do it one point. Because as right now, Earth is having is reaching overpopulation problems. The more people that is born on the planet, the more the resources have been pushed under this limit. Because what I'm meaning is like the more people that is born, the more people are expanding their cities, the more ground are used to building. Like there'll be less fertile ground to grow on. And as that happens, the air will be still be more polluted. Right now, which according to United Nations, those three biggest countries in the world, that's the main reason of the cause of the greenhouse effect of the global warming: Russia, China, United States are the three culprits in the moment that is the whole global warming is increasing. But mainly is Russia and China, because they're still using power plants. I know that the United States had try to improve there by using less um, to in, to decline or decrease how much of their releasing of the greenhouse gases. I mean, I know that United States are trying to make it possible to use less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to listen, try to prevent the global warming to even get any serious. That's the one thing. Even though the process takes slowly, even if look at even if Russia, China, and other countries, okay, if every single country in the world were to stop using any carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the temperature would even drop down to normal was before the industrial age started. But it would take at least a half a million years for that, according to another research I found out. But we need to be really careful of our own planet. We we can't just go around to screwing around to mess around with the environment. If we, I mean, if we pollute the atmosphere too much, like seeing this on the ancient countries like Japan and China or India, if they have a very serious problem with a lot of um, smog or probably pollution problems, and they have to wear a face mask in order to just walk around in the streets, and that is just one indication that could happen if the atmosphere gets too polluted. Eventually, I mean, just eventually, one day we had to be using a real gas mask like apparatus in order to breathe in atmosphere if you're on the streets. Or what if we had to build a complete glass dome over your city and have the entire atmosphere inside to be purified of the oxygen, while the outside world will be still polluted? And that if that would happen, only only the wealthy, high rich power politicians and other wealthy people would only be allowed to live in those. So any work class, middle class families would not been allowed because they would not afford it. If you were a very rich family, like a upper high class or politician family or even a military, perhaps you could have enough being being qualified for that. We need to be careful of our own planet. That's the big issue. But there, of course, there are many countries that are working to help to make sure that we don't destroy our own planet. Greenpeace is working along that way, but there are people around there in the world, many corporate companies, um, organizations that doesn't even care about the environmental problems if they pollute the rivers, if they destroy the local economic the ecosystem. I mean, all that they care about money, 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 money to make profit. That's the problem. If everyone was equal minded on that, this problem where the pollution of the atmosphere, the oceans, it wouldn't even a problem. It wouldn't even exist. But unfortunately, there isn't that easy. Oh, Ocean Globe is here apparently. Um, so I'm just trying to say to everyone who's been watching this to make sure that always be aware how much we impact the environment. Even if you drop down, if you just if even if you throw just a one single plastic bag on the ground or in the woods, the drastic effect will take huge. Here's one thing. Do you know even how long it takes for a normal plastic bag to be break down in nature?
I'm gonna say 4 years. Because
No,
I
not
know it's pretty damn long.
4 years? No, not even close. What do you think, Ocean Globe?
Mm,
I mean, more like 6 months, something like that. I don't know.
I think I'm eating.
What?
He's consuming food.
Ah,
Well, that's not what he said, but that's what I got it.
um,
But I don't know.
well, if I say this, you said 4 years or 6 months. It's not even close. This even way longer than 10 years, 20 years. Normal plastic bags, those
40?
made of 40, no, not even close to that. That even the fact it will take 400 years for a normal
Jesus.
plastic. Yeah, but there are in fact other plastic bags that are not made of um, normal plastic bags, say those back in the 90s. Right now, there are those made of um, corn, and those are more organic. And even if like I didn't even know that it will take 400 years for plastic bags to even be break down in nature. Like 4 centuries for a plastic bag for being taken requires to be break down by nature. 400 years. That's insane. You may think, what about the glass though? Can that be break down in nature? Oh, sure, it can, but that process takes about, I think it was about between 2 or 4 million years. And you may about what about some fruits like banana peels or orange peels or in the ground? Um, Normally, if you drop an apple or a sandwich on the ground, that delivery takes maybe less than a week. But more exotic fruits like bananas, it takes longer. It takes a little bit longer than that because
Hmm.
since those since they are more fiber in it. So, but they will break down naturally. So, but just take a little bit the longer process. And So we had to be careful of our own planet. I mean, if we are messing around too much, wasting it, and if you don't even care, it's a clear sign that neither of our great grandchildren or even future descendants wouldn't exist if they had to. Like in the Avatar movie, the ones from the Blue Aliens. Earth has been so populated of 20 billion, and 20 billion people, and the atmosphere is so polluted, and most of the animal life forms on Earth has been completely wiped out, except for those has been cloned. And the main food source on Earth in that franchise series is actually made of algae. It's just going to show you that is what can happen to Earth if we don't care about it. I mean, is that a future we want to have for the next our future descendants to live in? No, it isn't. We want to have them to live in a world that we grew up in, a green and blue world, and not a brown and yellowish toxic atmosphere type of world. We had to be careful.
we probably wouldn't live in that world if recycling plants get a move on with burning all the waste we kick out of the house.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's another problem that. I mean, despite of how many problems we have, and like I told Game Guy, that for both of the three major culprits, the ones behind of the global warming actually increases, is Russia, China, and United States. At least according to the United Nations, that is of the three countries that cause the most of the greenhouse gases. Russia, United States, and uh, what was it? China, Russia, and United States. And I mean, we are trying to get this to work as possible. I mean, there are people in the world that really cares about the environment and is fighting as best as they can. But it is not that simple. That's not that easy. Even we are making huge progress, but there's always some people in the background trying to make those process or all those progress we have made backfire, or we had to bring backwards. I mean, renewable power sources like the wind, solar power. Well,
I
I can
mean,
say this.
here's
I
my
mean,
opinion. I don't know.
uh,
I don't want to. I kind of want to share my opinion, but go ahead.
okay, dude, Lord Sidigus is in the comments.
I
He
know. I
said,
saw him. Hi, Lord.
dude, join in the stream if you want to. Yeah, but think about it. All the things that we had experienced.
Agree. The Lord Moonbutt is here.
Yeah, your roommate is here.
I could actually see him as a roommate, but but not if he comes up as a salamander.
He's always a salamander, though. So there's
No,
No,
no, he
your
doesn't.
issue.
Because I don't see him.
no.
Because I don't see him with three hands or paws. So he must be.
I meant
He,
his
he,
profile.
he must.
Um,
He must be a part of Slytherin house.
I'm a fake. I see him more as a snake demon.
Eh,
I mean, that is
you know.
more cooler than a salamander.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
Lord, if you're still there, question. Since we wanted to ask you this before, but if it's possible for you to join in the next game show stream next Friday, do you think it is possible if you wanted to be the co-host or even the host of that one? Since it's going to be about Scottish history, shut it, Malachi. I will send you to Jesus. Skull, laughter face.
Fight me, salamander puss.
Get a room, you two.
Well, if they're roommates,
True.
then they already have a interfere with each other. Anyway,
But Lord, if you want to join in here, just I put the link there, but I will put it again if you want to join in. Yeah, so I mean,
I mean, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, we need to be careful of our own planet. If we screw it up, and well, let's say that we are done for it. Yeah, Lord, I'm sure of it. I'm cool with it. You can join in it. Well, Lord, um, I mean, if you would be the host, the problem I had to be fixed is if you would be the host itself or the co-host, I may have to send the questions that I had done. Otherwise, the only place I can considering it is Discord, since I don't since I don't have your email and sending all that on Facebook Messenger. Um, I doubt it's gonna be fit because that will take a while. But Discord is the only other place I have done can do it since I done it before with both of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying, game guy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lord, I think that's probably the easiest way to. Well, to be fair, I did send the one of the back rooms that game guy did on the email. That was one way I did, and
Yeah.
and for Malachite, I actually did that on Discord, but it took a little bit while for to hold that. But since this game stream won't be like until next Friday, but like you said before on Facebook that it is possible that you could join. It depends. I mean, I completely understand if you have something come between them, like if there's something that interfere between. I mean, I can always do it with the game show stream otherwise myself if you can't join in. You know, it's probably easier if you were here at least talking, much easier that way. You know, I'm just saying, oh, oh boy. So, Ocean Globe, what you been up to?
Or I was gonna say
Uh,
something, but okay.
Nothing much.
All right, you were saying?
Seriously, not nothing much.
I know.
I was gonna give my opinion on the whole global warming shit or whatever that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
pretty much.
Um, I mean the problem with it is that most of the issue isn't just running out of resources. It's also giving a new resource. That doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's a new resource, like fossil fuels and like smoke and shit like that. And I think that most of the problem is like when you make like a bunch of factories and stuff like that, and it's like putting all this stuff in the air. You just have so much more problems. And then when COVID came around, and
Yeah, that's true.
even though
And
COVID was bad, what it also did was it kind of stopped the factories and stopped the littering in the oceans and did all
yeah,
that stuff.
that's yeah. If I can mention that when that happened, you're right. A lot of factories and all the pollution did stop because I can point out that in Venice, in Italy, that's a town which has canals, which will be normal streets, but normally the canals are so murky you can't even see the bottom of it. But during the time of between, I believe it was between 2021 and between 2020 and 2021, when Italy was at its highest peak of its self-imposed, well, self-insulation, the whole ocean, the canals was so clear. You can see from the truck to the bottom, and even dolphins was swimming in our canals. And even a lot of this in different places, like in China, where the sky was so clear in, well, almost forever. And a lot of places around in Asia, there were a lot of smog, or the fog was so dense. When most of the factories was closed for that time, that was just almost like you could actually breathe normally for once. And that's just another issues. I mean, even despite, even like I said before, okay, before the industry age started, or the industry revolution back in the mid 1700s, before that, the atmosphere was so clean, so almost pure. But before and even after then, the whole that started when the global temperature started to increase with almost with 2 degrees. And even if we did stop at all the factories all over the world, it it would still take a 500,000 years and half a million years for the world's temperature dropped down. It was as it was before the industrial revolution. That much time it would take. Well, it can take even longer or a lot shorter. It depends. It doesn't go just overnight. But you're right. A lot of things during COVID, with a lot of pollutions had stopped. Well, it was still happened, and even like during this was just before Ukraine war had even lasted for just 1 year. Russia, they actually increased more of releasing on the gases of burning gas. Like, I don't know if I remember exactly, but it was probably like 10 or even 20 times more percentage than usual, because they had so much gas that they couldn't even sell. So they like decided to burn it instead. I mean, think about it. As my boss told me months ago, that Sweden normally in the winter back in the 90s, when I was a kid, it was just always snow and cold in winter. And in Spain, it was always warm and sunny. But now, it's the opposite. We are getting more warmer winter, and on occasions that we do get snow. But Spain, another part of the Europe, has getting snow and cold. And I can say one other thing. Only a few years ago, this actually happened to the United States. When it was a warm period in the south of the southern hemisphere, like Australia, they suffered one of the hottest summer winters in a long time, or that they had to experience the most one of the hottest droughts droughts in a long time. Well, during the time that happened, United States, I believe in Canada, suffered the most coldest temperatures. I believe the temperature was, let me see, um, I believe it was, come on, you computer, don't be slow on me. Oh, here you go. I believe it was between -22 and 31. That cold. A lot of the parts like Washington State where Cody lives and where my girlfriend lives and where you guys live, has been they were one of the coldest winters in like I think it was probably the one of the coldest for the past 20 or 30 years. In fact, even some years before then, Chicago was experienced one of the coldest winters they had in several years because they had polar bears in a zoo and they had to pull them in because of the cold winter. Because those polar bears was not had even never even experienced in like an Arctic winter. Is that just the case? And if we somehow damage our own environment, this would having temperature changes. Like normally Spain, France will experience some like normal summer temperature in the winter times, while we have cold. But that had the role has almost switched opposite. I mean, what if like United States and South America do that? Like, let's say if you guys having like between 30 or perhaps even 22 degrees cold in winter, and there's a lot of snow. And South America, which has between, I don't know, maybe 90 or even 120 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer temperature. What if, I mean, like a big if, that roll the temperature switched. They experienced that same cold, but you guys will suffer the same heat. But instead for 120, what if like 180 or something like that in the temperature for a whole summer or winter season? Just imagine if that happens. It can. The weather can change in an instant. I mean, like you guys have been, you live in hurricane season. Just imagine now, like normally, what if what if the hurricanes gets more than the number normally? What if they actually 10 or even 10 or between 10 and 15 times more hurricanes frequently? If there, I mean, what if there's just one have passed over the American coastline and passed part of the inland, and there goes maybe normally say pass a few weeks or almost a month the next time they happen. But what if but instead of just a month? What if it's like only a week then until the next hurricane comes, and another 2 weeks, another maybe just 1 or 2 weeks, or even 3 weeks, and that not only that they can be for more frequent, but they will pass the 5 category to maybe as I don't know 8 or even 10. What if they can become so more frequent, and the strength of a hurricane normally can from 5, but what if it like double to 10? That if that would happen, the cost of just one 10 grade hurricane in America is astronomical. Her, if it's just like say Hurricane Katrina, if that happens a 10 grade level of hurricane, New Orleans would have been wiped out of the map entirely. If that had happened, I mean, what if the Ocean Globe's town was located on the American East Coast, like in New Orleans? Even if he wasn't at home at the time, but if he was home, there's a, I don't know, 95% chance he would even be there. Or even you, game guy. Because the weather itself can be so deadly. Because if a storm right now, the normal hurricanes is just a 5 grade, the highest. But just imagine if the storm would increase. I mean, just imagine if they increase from 5 to 10. If that means a 10 grade, that means way higher waves, way powerful wind. And normally towns like New York may survive from those hurricanes, but The devastation, the damages could have been cost billions or have trillions. And human life, it's one thing you can't even imagine. It can be thousands, even hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people. If it was my town, it would be complete wiped out. And since there are about 8,000 people living here, we would be homeless. Even if we did manage to survive, where in the world will we go? That is one of the things we have to be careful about the environment. I mean, what about you going to say that Mother Nature will even start to, start to want to punish humanity for the devastating her, um, her nature? Like, I wanted to kick, like, if it looks like, I want to kick Garrett and humanity a kick in their butt with my big boot. And she decided to increase the strength of the storms and make them more frequently.
She does that every year with tornadoes.
Well, that's another thing. What if that? What if the normal size of a tornado? But what if a normal sized tornado was? I mean, what if they actually managed to increase its speed in the speed of one maybe as twice or perhaps even 10 times stronger than normally, and the size? Well, what if like they would end up being so big, almost I don't know, big as a hurricane? Well, is it that I like it unlikely, but even if the tornado would be so big, like almost 10 times wide as a normal one is, just imagine damage that would have been doing.
Spanish.
Yeah.
If you were a storm chaser, would you dare to go out and try and get a closer look of a twister?
Um, if I was some sort of protection, or if I was some safe distance, then yeah, but not even closer to an actual tornado or twister. Not at all. I mean,
There's
I might be dumb.
actually there's actually an episode of a TV show that I enjoyed watching called Most Daring, and it was called The Best of Most Daring, and from the True TV network, and they showed one clip of Moore, Oklahoma, of storm chaser Reed Timmer, who has chased lots of tornadoes in the past. He could, and he was watching the sky. It was getting, dark clouds, and he was thinking something big was going to happen, and he was right. He caught a glimpse of his first tornado, and in the clip, he and his buddies are watching it from a far distance as it was churning along the horizon, twisting. And let's just say Reed and his buddies got extremely lucky for one reason. He and his buddies decided to go out there and get an up close look of his first twister. And from a distance, it looked like it was going to be an F2 or an F3, looking at the size of it. But little did these amateurs know, yeah, he was an amateur at the time. Um, there, the twister they were getting an up close view of was an F5, the deadliest there is.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I think yeah, since
and
F5 is the highest in the speed.
and with without warning, the twisters shifted right at their direction, and they found themselves in the path of it coming right at them, like it was coming, like they were right in the path of it. They seeked shelter underneath an overpass, and they could feel the powerful plus strong winds just coming out there, trying to pull them right out of it and such. The
Yeah,
twister
that makes
ended
sense.
up ended up less than a mile from them, and by sheer dumb luck, the twister shifted direction at the last second and moving away from them. I'm like, you lucky,
Yeah, I
You
mean, he had.
you
I mean, like this.
lucky risk
Yeah.
takers.
All I can say is twisters or tornadoes. They are not to play around with. But there is one other um, natural disaster you not can play around with, and that is volcanoes.
Oh yes.
I know that United States has several volcanoes. That some of them are active, some are active, but not as hasn't been have any eruptions in decades, like Saint Helens, which has so many eruptions in the 80s, or like Vesuvius in Italy. In the year 779 AD, people who lived in Pompeii, they didn't even know it was a volcano. And that was until like in August or September in the year 79 when Pompeii's volcano, boom, erupted and destroyed the whole town. But
Now
here's
it's
one.
ruins.
hmm
And it's
It's,
actually a
but
tourist attraction there.
yeah, it is. But there is not the volcano, but if this one would have eruption, it would have probably meant the end of America as we know it.
Mm.
And that
Um.
is the Yellowstone Park. Because
Yeah.
I'm just
It would
saying,
kind of it would kind of be like the bomb dropped on Hiroshima reached the center of reached the center of Yellowstone.
hmm but here's one other thing. Um, there's some three other states that's very close in the area of the Yellowstone Park. People who live there with the next 10 or 20 miles, they will be completely vaporized. But otherwise, and the entire country itself will be covered. I believe some experts are estimating up to like 4 or maybe 6 feet of ash, or even 10 feet. That will devastate the country's farming economics, and also there will be people will die from suffocation. But since that is a super volcano, which is one of the worst volcanoes there is in the world, but since the last eruption was about 600,000 years ago, and according to some experts, the Yellowstone's magma chambers hasn't even been refilled itself. So there's no worries that then that will not have any eruptions during this century. Likely, maybe within the next, I don't know, 10,000 years or so, or more. It depends. But even if that volcano would have eruption, the whole world temperature would drop. We would have had to enter a new ice age. And let's say if any of those, like say, if the president would fly with his Air Force One, there's no way. The plane will not even start because no planes can fly in ash. I'm just saying. But super volcanoes eruptions are rare been happening. Toba, a super volcano that nearly destroyed humanity several thousand years ago, is one of them. Oh, here's someone in the comments. What's up? I just woke up. What I miss? The kid. Uh,
Nagu
Nag-
Naguyan?
yeah, that is an
It's
important
Viet.
name.
The name is Vietnamese, so
Yeah, I can't pronounce that. Sorry,
I
I
think
have always
I think I
problems when
got
it
it.
comes
I
to.
don't actually know.
Yeah, I have always problems when it comes to pronounce names. It's just not much Yoroki yet. We are just talking about all kinds of things about how the world that we're as we're living in, how we're messing it up with polluting, what we should do, or how things could have been worse, and then we're
Oh,
talking about supernatural, not supernatural, but we are talking about you know the super. powerful uh, Mother Nature's punishment for us, like volcanoes, eruptions, all that kinds of stuff.
Um. By the way, Swedish.
Hmm?
Remember how me and you became moderators for Brittany's channel?
Yeah.
I finally found out what a moderator is. Basically, it's a person. Well, a moderator is a person that can like delete comments and check out the channels of other people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can make people moderators. It's really weird. You can only do it on the YouTube chat. It's really weird.
Yeah. And I believe that, but since you're doing your streams, and from what I remember,
Yeah, I made
uh,
you a moderator of mine.
yeah, I think that's we Splash is your moderator.
Whiplash.
Yeah, White
Yeah,
Splash.
he was one of them.
I don't know if you actually. I don't know if enough. I don't even I have any.
You don't have
I
any, but
Play past that, we'll need you.
well, I mean, I never thought about it even, but I really haven't really much thought of having it at all. Since I mean, since I am basically can mute someone or I can kick them out or ban them, and I can even block a person from using comments permanently. And I had even um I really haven't banned anyone from my streams permanently either. But I could and I would ban someone from my stream, but only if a person hasn't followed my rules. And so far I haven't even done that. As long as a person just doesn't insult any us or insult anyone else, like someone's religion or even being a racist or just something like that. That's is one of the few things I will not allow. Jokes, that's allowed, but also in a certain level. Like you can't start joking around about someone's um, beliefs or religion or something like that. That can also be considered as an insult or as a like a almost racist comment. Um, I'm just saying, like, or especially you. Another thing is, you don't joke around about someone's. Let's say if we have a friend, if we have one of our friends who has someone who is in a hospital fighting, say, cancer or something like that, and that someone would joke about that, that is one thing I would not tolerate. Absolutely not. And I have it, even though I never experienced a lot of cancer myself, but just I don't tolerate that. I want my streams to be just a safe haven for everyone to be in, as can be themselves. They can express how they feel about their how about the world, what they think about things like I don't know TV shows, movies, or how they have been, or they can actually come forward or be open about themselves. Like say, I mean, let's say for assuming like one of our friends would have been, let's say if uh, Godzilla 2000 came out to us that he was bisexual or if he was gay, and that he had even told anyone in his family except for his twin brother. And he is afraid of how his family react or that he is either bisexual or even gay. Because one of his families would not accept that. That since he's 18, they can kick him out from the house and not want to have nothing to do with him, which happens all the time. But I will tell him that, or not only him, but anyone, any one of our friends who is either bisexual or lesbian or even gay, always welcome here, is because I don't tolerate any anti-LGBTQ comments about that. I'm I'm actually support of that community. Even let's say if you would end up in if you end up a gay and that you had a boyfriend and that you hadn't even told anyone except maybe Roy and me, for the most part, people you can truly trust, and you don't know how the others react to that statement, or if even Ocean Globe comes out that he is a bisexual, or if Crystal will come out that she is a lesbian, or if Diana she is a bisexual, because I must still support all my friends despite what they believe, their religion, or sexual orientation, all no matter what their beliefs in. Even if one of our friends will decide, I want to be non-binary gender, meaning they don't particularly have any gender. If they prefer to be called they or them, not he or she, I would still call them that by they or them. But sure, it will take me a little bit of time to get used to not being, since I had always called them he or she. It depends on what the gender is. I mean, looks like if I end up being non-binary, and I mean, you guys probably had time to get used to that as well. I mean, like, well, if your brother Roy decides to, he comes out that he is gay or something like that, or someone else of our friends is. This hard to be saying. Like I said, there are many families out there who don't accept their child is either bisexual or even gay or a lesbian. There are a lot of parent families that who actually disown them by kicking them out from the house and has one enough no contact with them. And it happens so frequently in the world that it happens so much as that it happens more than you know. And all I can say is this streams is always is always a safe haven for those who want to talk and not to be judged by their beliefs. I mean, if they want to start, if Kubo started believing that telling us that he is believing in religion, that he actually believes in Thor, Odin, and the other god, the old Norse gods. I'm like, well, I don't stop him from believing that. But since that was actually my country's main religion for centuries during the Viking Age. After Christianity came, that was banished. But now, these days in modern times, there are new strong people that believe in gods again. So if I have friends who were believing is one thing, I accept that. Or if they were attracted toward the same gender or both genders, I still talk to them. I still tolerate them as it is. But I mentioned this many times before. If all of us lived in the say 40s and 50s, none of this would not have been accepted. Not at all. If there were any couples who lived that time who was same gender, they would have been disowned by the family. Even gay couples would have been sent to some institution for being quote unquote cured, which probably meant that they had been staying there for life. And even like back then, diagnosis of autistic or autism and that didn't even exist. Because back then, autism was not even a medical condition. People who was born with autism, Down syndrome, or even Tourette syndrome, or like that, they would have been sent either to some form of institution that they could be treated or had to be taken care of for the rest of their lives, that they are not being, that in some families didn't even want to have nothing to do with them anymore. But that also depended on how severe, like autism. There are some autistic people that cannot even communicate whatsoever. They are non-verbal communication. Some are so severe autistic that they have been had to be taken care of 24/7. Others like us, we can actually take care of ourselves, feed us, clean, or even clothing ourselves, or even read. But back before then, there were no such things. And people like in our condition, they were probably considering as mentally insane or something. But it wasn't until like much many years later when the autism was confirmed as a diagnosis. But even to this day, no one knows exactly what the actually cause of autism actually. We know that it is a genetic condition, but we don't know precisely was the cause of the autism appeared in the first place. Like, was the particular gene that is the one sort of triggered or or something like that? It something even similar to those who are born with Down syndrome. A lot of people, families would have expecting a baby, turn out they're having a Down syndrome child, and doctors often did had express that the child will have some medical problems in the future, like learning difficulty curves or the dysfunctions, and that they were probably something like that. And they often require, well, not require, request that they terminate the abort the baby before it's even born. I can tell one family that I heard of, young family, a young couple. They will learn that their baby was not really supposed to be a Down syndrome, but despite the doctor telling them they should abort the baby because of the baby will have a lot of problems in the future. But the young couple, they refuse. Despite how much the doctor tried to convince them that there was no good to having a baby like that is. But they didn't. They had a baby and it's in a perfectly fine. I actually work in but I work. There's two kids. There are two young women in their early 20s. One is early 20s and one is late 20s. Both have Down syndrome. Both can talk. Both has great intelligence. Doesn't show you that those who were born with the difficulties are stupid or brainless idiots. But they aren't. And so, like I said, if all of us have been born in the 30s or in the 60s, it's we would have been we wouldn't even had given the diagnosis of autistic. I'm not as much since it even didn't exist. We would have been treated much poorly. We could have been treated badly, really badly. I mean, if we were even if some of our friends came out as being the like I said earlier, like if one of our friends turned out to be gay, and we lived in the 30s or 60s, especially in the 60s, that would have been almost like a death sentence, almost, because people could beat each other, people could go together, a large crowd, beating them with baseball bats or even burn them, almost like on witch trials, because that was not acceptable. There were even a lot of famous people in the world that was just, who could have been either bisexual, even gay, but they actually had to be living that in a closet for a whole time. They probably even had come out until like in the late 2000s or 2010s when they admit that finally coming out from the closet of the shell to express that they were actually had been because they had been living in this lie despite being living with whether someone was opposite gender for all this time. Like say if I would have been married with my girlfriend and I was gay the whole time and it's just back then, or it's hard to be living in a life like almost living a lie. But back then, that was how difficult it were at the time. I mean, I mean, my parents, your parents, even Malachi's mother, all those parents they were either born around in the 60s or in the 70s, and they were probably young at the time of those 2 decades, and they could probably heard, seen about it on the news on how things were at the time, and if we even ask them how was it even like for people with the same gender problems, like the LGBTQ, like for lesbians or gay or bisexuals, for any big problems, our parents probably telling us there were a lot of problems. A lot of people were in their closets they never told anyone, not even families, and that happens. it wasn't until like late 80s or 90s, I believe, when they started to slowly a movement. But it wasn't until like early 2000, 2010s when it actually became more officially accepted. While for most part, I think every single state in America now, same gender marriage, which now is allowed, including my country. And I do believe you shouldn't judge anyone despite what their religion or their beliefs. Nothing. There's no way for judging that. It's like, oh, you judge me because I will judge you. The same thing. They will feel the same punishment as we be feeling. So my streams are where people can be who they are, except for not being rude or anything. But otherwise, they can be who they are. I mean, if let's say if Ocean's Globe is more as a goofball than normal, okay, that's nothing a problem with. I don't mind that. But as long as we all remember the rules, that's all. I just I mean like I know that you have the same rules in yours, and even Malachi had the same thing in his.
Hmm.
That everyone remembers always be the rules, because I can't stand of anyone like being like that. I mean, if I had one of my family members and they find out that I had, or whatever your family members, which let's say if it was someone you know who were part of some organization or or believed in something, and someone else telling that religious belief is bullshit, doesn't even exist. Like, I mean, like say if someone believed that Santa Claus was some sort of supernatural deity, or even like made him as a god, or it's like, yeah, you really shouldn't even go around saying like that, because I mean, what if someone like, oh, by the way, did you know God is actually not a man, it's actually a woman? Uh, that would have been an insult to many Christians. That's or other people that's which has God in their religion, like Jewish beliefs and even Islam, or like, I mean, you don't, you really don't, should not. I mean, should not do that. It's not okay. Not okay. Because if you go like back in the 1100s, the Crusades, the Christians, they didn't care of the people the Muslims believed in. They would kill them. Or when they came to the Spanish, when they came to Americas, South America and North America, they burned, forced everyone of the encounter, like the Aztecs, the Mayans, to convert in Christianity, because to them they're worshiping the devil. That is not okay. You can't force anyone to believe in one religion. That actually did happen in my country. During by the end of the Viking Age, when Christianity actually came to my country, though, we were forced to be believing God in Jesus. Otherwise, we could have been killed. According to one story I heard, that one man who refused to believe in the Christianity had a snake pushed down his throat. But if that is true or not, I don't know. But that's just going to show you can't force anyone to believe in their religion. But back then, superstitious was just that. But now these days, we know that was wrong. I mean, no thanks. I just, I really don't want to be doing any particular things like having anyone being forced to be doing that they want to do. I mean, sure, your family can force you to do some like things like Oh yeah, you had to take the trash out, or you had to take the dog out, or you had to clean that room, or you had to help me with this. That's okay. That's one thing that's something I had to be experienced myself. But other than that, being forced by other people that they should for the like if someone your friends like uh find out do you don't believe in God or you're an atheist and they like try to force you to believe in God and all that, that is absolutely wrong. You can't like force now anyone in this modern age to believe in that. If you really want to believe in one thing, that's up to you, not them.
Yeah.
um Mark, are you still there?
Yeah, I was really hoping Lord would be in here by now.
Yeah, he hasn't even showed up.
By the way, Swedish.
Yep.
I put how you can make people a mod in the Let's
Oh, I
Play.
see. Oh, yeah, I see.
Just
Well,
because I was like,
yeah,
hey, maybe you want to know for the future or whatever. I don't know.
yeah. At least for now, that Lord cannot be one of those since he's rarely in one of my streams, and that's the reason why he is not here is because he has a lot of college exams and school work and all that, and that takes a lot of time. This, which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he hopes that that's gonna be done soon. So, is that your uncle, the goofball?
Uh, he's out in the other room.
Let me guess, playing
Yes.
games as always. I think he's playing like what? Call,
Ignore them.
I think he's playing like what Call of Duty or something.
No, they're they're playing cribbage.
Hmm. I actually never played Scribbles or like that myself.
Cribbage.
Yeah, I know what it is.
You need to get over here as soon as possible.
Uh, who knows? At least I know what Uno is.
Yeah, I mean, if you over here, I m- if you were over here in the U.S., we could have probably met up and we could have gone bowling,
Hmm.
done some things together.
Bowling is one thing I actually like to do.
Yeah, we lost
Ooh.
another bowling alley due to demolition and due to
Well,
COVID.
yeah, we don't even have any bowling alley where I live. Only the next time over. I mean, we did actually have one other type of game that's quite similar to bowling, but the only difference is that the ball is half of the size, almost like the size of a handball,
So
and
it's Skittles.
kinda, but except that in the lane there are no tracks like where a bowling ball would run into. There are no in that either. And and the ball itself, there is no holes for the fingers. You have to roll it by hand. And the pins, they are actually hanging in ropes. And this actually game predates bowling itself. This is actually an older sport than the bowling itself. This this type of game was actually very common around in Sweden, probably the late 1700s, early 1900s. We did actually have one place here where I live, which you could actually play that. Sadly, they closed that place down in the early 2000s. There are only a few places around in my country that still have those places, and we're, one of those is where my grandfather used to live, and it's actually one of the oldest in the country. I believe it was around 120 years old or so. Let's see if I can actually, if I can find the name. Here we go. Um, let's see if I can. Yeah, this is called Nine Pin Bowling. Hmm. I can put the link about this in a private if you guys want to read about it more. Read about that later. Come on, there we go. Your
Yeah,
story is done. Your story is done already.
Hmm.
It's not 38 minutes. It's 49. And you
You
said
made a
22. Well,
yeah.
you did.
I didn't want to go too crazy on a big old number of grandkids.
I kind of did. Oh boy. Instead for 22, the number is 105.
You
Each one has 16 kids each. I was planning to do like 100, maybe 140 or even like that, but nope. 60 was probably the max of each. I mean,
uh,
to be honest though, to be honest, since like I mentioned yesterday, that if one of those kids would have to total to be 22, and since there were 7 kids and 22 grandkids, and since the closest were like 21, so but I went too crazy on this one. I mean, what if Game God has his OC with one, and then I made him that he had 3 kids, and each one has like I don't know 20 kids. That were like 60 grandkids. Big lot. That's not real though. Yeah, I don't know what that's gonna do for next door. To be honest, right now I just really have no idea. I had so many been asked. It just I have no idea. That delete that delete that. Come
I
on.
mean, would you even never make a mod on your channel, Swedish? I mean,
No,
just a
I have no idea.
just a random question. I don't know.
Um, I can't actually think of anyone to be the next at the moderator. Maybe Malachite, perhaps, or even you, or someone else. It depends. I mean,
I wouldn't
I don't.
mind, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I really don't wouldn't say um, not Kuba, but Cody the Dark Hawk, since he's barely even here anymore, or Lord, since that for reason understandable. But so none of others are well, not even here. Since I'm surprised that Kuba hadn't even showed up. I mean, I doubted this that he has school today or his work. I mean, it's Saturday for God's sake. Oh my God! But he's probably with his girlfriend or his special lady. I don't know. So Ocean Globe. What did you have for dinner?
Nothing yet. Please, next time I give you a number for kids, please at least go with that or somewhere within the area. I mean, I would have mind 24.
Yeah, I will try. Yeah, I went a little bit too
Hopefully,
far on that one.
hopefully you added, hopefully you added some bits of Flashlight friends being aunts and helping off with them.
Yeah, I didn't put that in the story much, but um, I did actually add in a story where she and Waterfall went on a date were a bowling alley, where she did have, what was it, 210 points and Waterfall had 190.
Uh,
Yeah, but trying to make it possible as real as it is. I did also mention that Fluttershy was dating one Stallion before she met him, and that same ex-boyfriend came back, tried to propose to her, but luckily though, Waterfall missed at home. That's would have been a big disaster otherwise. Well, I'll probably muted there for a little bit.
Not normal. Doesn't sound normal to me. Thank you. I have no idea what was up with that, but okay. All right. Let's see here. No. I'm the only one that is still here. Look at that. Disco hairdo. Up. There goes that. Oh, sweet. I got a fist upgrade. That makes sense. Ah, yes. Vacuum Void. Great name.
Well, I'm back. I thought I was muted the whole time, but nope. Right. So, where's Roy though? Is that a gym?
Yeah, he's still at the gym.
Are you playing as Randomizer?
Actually, I'm doing Minecraft right now. Get it on the screen, but
Yeah, I
you know how that works.
yeah I didn't even expect to see this clip on YouTube of presidents playing Minecraft. Obama with Biden and Trump. That was. I didn't even expect that. Especially when Biden's like, what is a realm? I mean, if I even if someone asked me that, I would like, I have no idea what that is, since I don't play that.
You used the force. I did it finally. Took all these years to use the force. I don't think it killed him. It did not. Wow, imagine being that guy. Turned to dust by solar flame.
I wonder if Malaket or Ocean Globe even play
I don't think
Minecraft.
he does. No.
He's not. I don't think he's like a Minecraft. He's more a Among Us guy. And if he is imposter, he will be so bad at it. He will be like,
It wouldn't be as bad as me though. I've never played it.
me either. But he'd be like, people like, he is imposter before he even done anything.
No, if that were me, that would be me. Because I wouldn't know what
Yeah,
to do. Jeez.
me either. I mean, I do have seen a lot of people there. One guy who was, he did play a lot of Among Us, but when he was a crew member, he actually came up with a very good tactics. He actually announced in a meeting that after one has been, or if no one hasn't been killed at the time of the game, or if someone actually been following around particular one individual, or if someone actually mentioned that that guy or that girl is sus. So this guy uh, called Zen mode. He made this tactic to announce in a meeting that he will follow that individual player to make sure if he ends up dead, that would be the killer or the imposter, so they can immediately rule the person out. But then, as the game went on, they were adding new mods in it, like you can be like almost like ghost, and you can kill multiple different people throughout the game plan. Um, one was there you were in a school. You had to be in a classroom. If you were outside a classroom with the bell rings, you end up being dead, no matter what. And you had to make homeworks like math. That's if you fail, you're dead. Then were this mod even had Harry Potter. Um, what's more? Well, they even had one called the Jester. His role was to be voted out in order to win. And since there were only if there were two imposters and one Jester, that the problem is if there was just only one or two imposters and one Jester, well, let's say that is like a 25% chance to know exactly who that is. But that is one thing that if they vote one person out and turn out he was a Jester and like defeat and the person wins. It's it's one way to win for certain, but Of course, no one actually mentioned who they actually are in this role. They have later they added in the sheriff. He can actually shoot at the players. But if he killed another player who's not the imposter, he would end up dying himself. But then they had the hitman who can actually kill anyone without even dying himself. And yeah, that's just great to learn how many different mods that have been added in that game. It's just really unusual. Ocean Globus, will it be a super mutant after this?
I don't know.
What are you even doing?
Pixel tap.
Mixel
I
tap.
have no idea.
Slightly.
I have no idea what it is.
I've
It's the thing he
mentioned it
used
in
to.
Discord before.
It's the thing he used to make all those pictures that he shows on Discord.
Ah, that one. Got it. Yeah, I really haven't. Yeah. Tired of even not done that anything. Huh. Drop bear. Uh, nope. Wow, this kind of boring when no one else is even showing up. I can always invite Crystal, but I don't know.
I mean, you
I
could.
wonder when I wonder when Fire Guys will return.
Um, I don't know actually, since the most of the reason why she isn't joining is because um she had to be in somewhere that her brothers is screaming or yelling in the background. The other place that is just her mom's bedrooms is which is the only bedroom that's available in the house or the home that they live. She has her own bedroom, but it's completely filled with some boxes and plastic bags and all that stuff. She hasn't even used her room since, wow, more than 10 years or so, I believe. But yeah, there's something like that. And another reason is that she isn't mostly here is because how things, some other people have been acting a little bit sometimes. Not bad, I mean rude, just crazy. Which I don't blame her. Sometimes people here can be completely jackasses. It depends on, of course, from person to person and the reason. Other than that, but I could try to ask her maybe later. I mean, another time, perhaps next week. I could ask her if she wanted to join in the next one of Gangster streams in the next week. If it's about Scotch history or the backrooms, since I can always ask her though. It's but it depends on if she can, because sometimes she isn't even at home since she's either out with her mom to go to the store, or she is having a headache, or as happens when she ends up in her monthly times, if you know what I mean, which she feels crappy. So That's another reason why sometimes she isn't even here. But I can ask her if she is interested in joining one of the players. But yeah, I can't probably ask her if she probably want to have Discord. You probably have to really don't have to download it on this on as a program on the computer. You can only use the actual internet. I mean, always used the program, which I still have, but haven't even logged in on it. That's why I always use our my I would say beloved, but I would say more my trustworthy Firefox. But Deanna said that she might be able to join the stream as soon as she figured out how it works again. She said that yesterday when she were in a stream when she suddenly just poof gone. She had to go because, well, I don't know, but at least that her mic works again.
Hey, Swedish, I gotta go, but before you upload that story, do you think you can maybe lower the number of kids maybe down to I don't know, maybe 100? I mean, that would be interesting.
Um, yeah, I mean, since I still have the video, it says that I could change it. So, but I don't want the camera function. Dang it! There we go. Um, yeah, but I probably have to figure out how to count H1 again. So 5 times 7 times
Mm,
8.
I was
That's
wondering.
56.
56, yeah.
What?
I said it's 56, yeah.
Or how about 7 times 56? So we'll have 300 56 kids or
Okay.
300 kids. Um, yeah, I
But
will try to figure out.
but yeah, if you want to go that crazy on kids, I mean, I just say 100 would be the good max limit for those two as a number of kids.
Well, I can always lower it to, I don't know, maybe, I'll say 30 to 40. Or how about 28?
Just go with 100, okay?
Um, yeah, the problem is I don't know. Um, since the closest being as 100, if I do that, is um, 7 times 14 will be 98. So,
Just maybe you could add that they decided to adopt to special needs.
yeah, that works. I have to figure out that also. Okay, where are that video? Documents. Number one. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Open up. Here we go. Let's see if it's the right one. Since I want three ones. Come on, come on, come on. Ooh. Off Barrel and Queen Haven. Nope. That story's done, I think. Number two. What's that? Come on. That's alphabetical the same. So number three story video. Where is
I
that?
mean, with I mean with those 7 kids I did. I mean, I wouldn't even have minded if 48 was a good number.
Yeah, I mean, I can admit, I can. What the? Oh, great.
What's wrong?
I, I just saw that I didn't save the last time when I did the video. So the last part of the story was not even there.
Oh no!
Great. But luckily, for one thing, the video was saved as an actual video, so I can always use that as a model.
Technology sucks.
Online,
Yeah,
you
it's as much as Malachi's butt. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Ah,
I think I do have it still. Let's see, put the folder. Um, I delete those since I don't need those anymore.
oh, I'm dead.
Um, Waterfall Mist and Celestia Love Story. Yep, there is it. Nope, it was Fluttershy. Sorry. Um, but yeah, I'd probably be taking care of that after the stream since Crystal is not joining in since she is sweating apparently. I had no idea what that means.
Swimming?
Um, no, sweating. I mean concept or
Well, she might be working
reason
out or something.
possible. Come on, open up your damn stupid video. Open up, or I
No.
have to kick you in, or I have to kick you in the butt. No wait, you just
I
have
don't think you noticed what I said.
what?
I said no. Like I was saying the video said no. I don't know. I was just being weird.
Hmm. Hmm. Come
Ah
on.
yes. I only have alright, well that's at least better.
A B
I don't need this jackhammer.
go. Stop there, and I will done take care of the video after the stream is done. I just hope I have enough time left until next week for you doing both game show
Actually,
streams. Have you guys ever seen any video or called "Mermaids the Body Found"? Are they real?
um I haven't seen the video, but I do know what you're talking about, I think.
Yeah, this is actually not a real uh, story. This is a fictional. Well, the video is about some scientists have been aware that the Navy have been trying some new some form of sonic ultrasonic sound weapon in the ocean, which have caused dozens of whales, dolphins, and other creatures on the beach. And according to one of the videos, where two teenagers found what remains looks like. Well, according to the Navy had official statements had to change their statement from seeing what they believed it was until it was a seal that was still alive but had been almost decomposed form shape. But one of the scientists made a statement on a theory. What about aquatic ape theory, which were the statement were believing that a branch of our earliest ancestors broke off from the rest of the mainland apes and spent a life in the ocean. So during this entire video show, they were showing from 7 million years until modern times where they had changed from apes into mermaids. It's completely fictional, but it's not that bad. They even made a sequel to that one 2013, and the first was 2011, I believe it was. Yeah, I'm like I can fix this problem. That's not even like any difference that serious problem. Just if only part of the story was not in the original work wasn't didn't show up since I apparently didn't save that part. So, but luckily I still had the video that was still saved. I can use that to part of the text, so it wouldn't be much an issue with that part. Still had the pictures, so that is just so they probably will be still around 39 minutes long, I believe. Uh, so yeah, a text will be.
I'll mind you doing it for 40 minutes if you want to extend that extra minute.
A good try. I mean, I am already up in as the video is right now. It's 38 minutes and 51 seconds. So I mean, the original video is that say was 39 minutes long. So yeah, I think I can probably make it up to 40 minutes. It's just not difficult.
And
Difficult.
and also let me know what you two think of the dear art picture that I put in the Discord. So see ya.
So yeah.
Hmm. Well, I wonder if I should end it here since no one else hasn't even showed up. And it's in close to 2 hours mark anyway, so. So, any plans for the rest of the night?
Not really.
Play games as always.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know, probably, I don't know, watch movie or something.
Yeah, I might not. I'm not a big movie guy.
Except when it comes to this Super Mario Bros.
Well, the only reason I'm interested in that is because I play the games.
True.
I mean, I could get the randomizer up if you feel like watching me die like 13 times to that, but
Yeah, probably. I don't mind. I mean, it's no problem since I never been
good.
copyrighted so far.
Because I was getting sick of Minecraft anyway. Because I just I fought to the edge with Flopsy Wopsy, so everything's okay. These names are great, by the way. Names are fantastic. I just gotta get the end course set up, and also nice picture.
Hmm?
Nice picture.
Yeah, screenshot it. This is upside down.
It is
I
upsetting.
don't know, just bored as hell. Bored as heck. Well, I mean, you can play the game after stream's done, so since I decided to break it here, since it is 2 hours. What the? Car alarm going again? Sheesh.
All right.
Well, this stream has been, I wouldn't say fun, since hasn't been very much people here to talk at least.
I guess
Well,
everyone's just busy. I guess I don't know.
uh, I don't know. Maybe. At least the next week it will be more funnier. But the game for
Yeah,
streams. I wonder how the next the backrooms will be, since I don't really don't know anything about it. uh, well, I will try to update my Pokemon quiz since I haven't done that yet. Well, just a few questions, but that might not be used for quiz or game show stream for at least a while now, since this had done that what 4 times already. Good was at 5, but it has only been 4. Well, um, well, people, there has been a very productive stream as always, but not many people joined in this time. So Kobo was missing in action as always. Otherwise, he would be in here already. But yeah, that has been just me, Mala guy, then gaming guy. But I mean, if I was alone, well, I probably would have done the stream for 2 hours. So, yep. Until next week, which will be 2 game show streams. First time for as ever. Well, see you all next time. See ya. Bye.
and goodbye.